Special meeting order at this time. If everyone would stand, we'll have opening prayer and pledge allegiance. Father in heaven, we do thank you so much, Lord, for another beautiful day that you've given us to enjoy. We just thank you, Lord, for all the blessings that you've given us, and we're very, very, very grateful. Thank you, Lord, for what you do in our presence. And Lord, we're careful to pray for our leaders all over the world, our federal, our state, our county, and local leaders. Lord, I just pray that you give wisdom to all of our leaders, that we could live in peace and harmony throughout the country. And I pray for all those that are serving us, our military, our firefighters, first responders, those EMTs and medical personnel, all of those that are so generously given of their time and talents for our safety and security and health and well-being. So I pray your blessings upon them and protection upon them. Thank you, Lord, for our council. Thank you for all the things that we work on, and I pray that you give wisdom in decision-making. For it's in Christ's name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated, and Steve, will you call the roll?
I will now call the roll in alphabetical order by last name. Please respond by saying present or here. Ronnie Adams.
Present.
Kimberly Bruce.
Here.
Seth Fisher.
Here.
Jeff Marvin.
Here.
Sadat Rice.
Here.
Bobby Tweedy.
Here.
We have 6 out of 6 council members present. Therefore, I'm pleased to announce that a quorum has been made.
Thank you so much. Right now we are here for one purpose, and that is to look at Resolution 2025-08, resolution authorizing the mayor to apply for a grant from the Arkansas Rural Community Grant Program. So we're here to look at this. As you know, council on last regular meeting, you asked to have a special meeting because we need to be able to get a grant. We have to have it filed by this Friday, and that would preclude us going any further for grant funding for the request. The Public Works has come and requested a appropriation and funding to go along with the grant if you approve. That way we can proceed on there if you approve. So we'll ask Alex Walker to come to the podium and present what the council has asked you to come up with for this meeting.
Afternoon. Evening. So we worked on getting more information about different kinds of GPRs and looked into 3 that U.S. Radar produces. Sorry. They've got a single frequency with a dual and a triple. We're looking at getting the triple frequency because it's got the most range. It can see deeper and all over a better product. But we searched up the other 2. Doesn't have the name for the first one. Sorry. The first one's obviously the lowest cost. It's around $27,000.
We're not going to go through telling us the truth, but we just got this a chance to read it.
I was supposed to be studying it up on it today. I failed on that part. I'm sorry.
Okay, all council members, you did received this afternoon early, right? This afternoon. So you got
I
it.
didn't realize it come through. I got mine about 5 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna do this, let's pause, and let's give the council time enough to just flip through there and look at it and kind of look at, some summaries and high points, and then we'll continue on. So, then just, look at the, what, was sent to you, and then, you can go forward. And this is, the additional things that you requested. And so, really, as you're going through that, I'll look here. The bottom line is that, the, Public Works is requesting, and they're gonna present, to you tonight, their recommendation for that, GP Rover with the premium software. And so, they are gonna request that, you approve the, grant, application for a grant for $15,000, which would leave a balance of $23,966.74, which $11,983.37 would come out of each of the 1.5% sales tax, water improvement sales tax fund, and the 1.5% sales tax percent in the sewer fund. And currently in the water improvement sales tax fund, there's $153,205.71, and in the sewer improvement sales tax fund, there's $308,896.82. So bottom line is, they're gonna be asking you for approval to go forward with the fund grant request. If we apply for the grant in this month of March, we probably be November timeframe before that we would know whether or not we'd be approved for the grant, and then it would probably be a month or so, or after that, approval of the grant before we would actually be awarded funding for that. And so, if it's in your paperwork there, so you're just asking for your appropriation out of those two funds for those amounts. And y'all wanted to look at some other things, and so that's the other things that it might be better if y'all would just ask Alex questions about the concerns you had at the last meeting, and that way he wouldn't have, we don't want to reiterate everything that was going on the last meeting, but if you can ask him questions then of what you had last time, then that should be able to go through, pretty quickly.
Just a question about finances. How much of, we've got 153 and 308, but what part of that is not appropriated?
Melissa can answer those questions.
That microphone is not unmuted, you just have to turn off the mute on the top.
I'm sorry, what was the question again?
What part of those funds are not already appropriated? I looked at the budget, and it looks like we've appropriated pretty much everything that come in.
No, it has a balance in there, because what we're using is what we project to have this year, and not in the balance.
I understand, but is there a $5,000 balance, or is there a $50,000 balance, or?
The balance in the actual account.
No, I know what the balance in the account is. I'm asking what part is not appropriated in the 24 or 25 budget.
What he's asking for is there anything that's encumbered out of that?
No.
Would that be appropriated for something?
No, our budget was the budget for the, sales tax, and then the sales tax went into the water improvement sales tax and the sewer sales tax.
But we don't have anything earmarked for those monies in there, that's.
Sorry,
That's just money that's in there right now that we don't have saying, this much is already going here, this much is going there. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Right,
Yeah,
right.
okay, I think that's what you're asking,
That's
right?
what I'm asking, but I looked at the budget, and I forgot to bring it, and there is money already budgeted and encumbered in those accounts.
Well, there's a loan amount that comes out of the water.
That's what I'm asking, what did we appropriate out of that, what's left?
That's appropriated out of the budget, not out of those funds, the way she's trying to
Yes.
explain.
Those
have been appropriated out of the budget.
We spent $308,000 tonight, we don't have anything appropriated out of those funds.
For water, we have a loan that comes out of it, but it's around 10 to 11, maybe $12,000 a month that we get, and we might spend not even half of that.
Okay, that's what my question was, what's not appropriated, because that's all, this wasn't in the budget, correct?
This was not in
No.
the
So
budget.
we can only spend what is not appropriated.
Right, it's, like I said, this was not in the budget, therefore come to the council and say, I'd like to appropriate it
Unappropriated reserve.
out of those reserves.
Okay, that's
Yes.
what I wanna make sure.
So that's it,
Okay,
because it's not been appropriated,
okay,
and was not in the budget.
okay,
But those other things you're talking about were actually in the budget.
okay.
How much are our loan payments a month?
Coming out of the water improvement sales
Yeah.
tax, 4,800.
4,800 a month.
But you're projecting income into those
Yes, more
from the income.
for the sales tax, we get anywhere from $10,000 to $12,000 per month.
And just to kind of reiterate to the council on our sales tax is 2% sales tax. And 1/2 of 1% goes to water improvement, and 1/2 of 1% goes to sewer improvement. Of the other 1%, 75% goes to streets, and 25% goes to public safety.
So, on the three most expensive ones, are all of these have three frequencies on it, those three most expensive ones?
All of
They are all triple frequencies, yes.
So, yeah, all the, US radar, PPRs are 3 frequency.
And so, do we normally have to, all of them reach down like 30 feet? All
Yes.
three of those?
Yes, sir.
Do we often have to go that deep?
No.
What's the normal?
The normal depth is between 2 to 6 feet. We do have stuff deeper than that, mainly sewer. Most of our water lines is between the 2 to 6 feet.
On the cheapest one, how deep does it go?
On the US radar or
Yeah.
the Spark 5?
This part?
So that isn't a penetrating radar. That's just a locating beacon.
Okay, okay.
It pinpoints the location you're standing at with it.
Have we demoed any?
I demoed the GP rover today. Yeah. And we took it to several spots. We didn't tell them the depth. We didn't tell them what was in the ground. We just basically told him find it for us. And he was able to tell us about the water lines and even the gas lines right off the bat. First walk pass. It took a little finicking to get the depths right and to find the sewer line.
So before you'd just be digging, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have an example of how that would have helped recently?
I did have.
Let me refresh your memory.
The,
Okay, right over here on Highway 64 where they're building the new Dollar General. Okay, the other day I was over there and the guys had to go in there and take some water meters that were in there when the trailers were in there, and they wanted those to be cut off. So you went in, you took those lines and you crimped those lines, and then they come back and said, okay, we're going to put a driveway through there, and so that needs to go back to the main water line. So when I was over there, the guys were digging it took quite a long time digging where that the maps showed the main water line there that runs along 64 Highway. Well, they never found where the line was in digging that, so they go back to where the end of the,
Where I cut the lines.
where you cut the lines for the service lines, you started going back, and as you went back, you discovered the main water line was actually about 8 feet over from where it originally was. So had you had that, you wouldn't have had to spend all that time digging out over the other place. Am I saying this accurately?
Yeah, so that, we run into that actually quite often, where the maps will say it's right on the edge of the road, and even in the middle of the road, and it could be in the ditch line, or instead of this side of the road, that side of the road kind of deal. It's not every line we go to, but it is on there. Another issue that, we had maybe 2-3 months ago, we had a water leak on 4th Street. And, it was actually one of the spots that I just had paved. It was leaking out right on the edge of the road from where they finished paving into the Methodist Church parking lot. Figured it was gonna be an easy dig. Water leaks right there, can't be too far. We had to dig 6 feet over and then 15 feet up. Cause it was over here and we thought it was over here. And the 6 feet off was just to find the water line. The rest we had, the GPR would have told us there was a water leak there, but it at least would have saved us from having to dig up all that extra asphalt on the, just locating the line.
So, but based on what you're saying, this would save, if you had this piece of equipment, it would save you a lot of time.
It would save us time, and we would have to be doing less road cuts, for sure.
So you feel like, and I want to say this to all the council, you feel like that this is a good investment for the city of Mulberry in spending the taxpayer money wisely by having this into the future. Is that what you're saying?
I do. Another thing that I wanted to bring up. Y'all did just approve me to get a valve cut in, around $8,500, put a valve directly into a live line. We actually tested it today to see if we'd be able to locate a valve on the line, say it got paved over or something to that effect. And we could actually see where he kept talking about the parabolas you would see. Well, it actually has one and then a flat top. You can tell where the valve lids are. So, I know there's not a valve on that line that I need to put one on, but, if we have maps that say, okay, there's one supposed to be right here, we can actually take that across and either locate it or find that the valve's wrong, or the maps are wrong. And if I can actually locate some of these valves, then I'm saving $8,500 a piece. Cause I've got actually several that we either can't find anymore or wasn't marked on there. This'll help lead me in one way or the other.
Would you say that, the difference between these top to the end to the bottom is very little price-wise? Can you justify that?
So it with, at least see which one you're.
Well, you're 3 compared to your 1.
Alex. So the first one on there does not include mapping, that's the main difference on that. The very first one for the lowest amount, it does not include mapping.
Yeah, do you want to join?
Could you come up to the microphone where I can hear you?
Yes, sir. Hey, guys. The first one on there, it does not include GPS. It does not include mapping. The other two do. So that's
When you say the first one, are you talking about the one on the bottom or the top?
the one for the least amount of money, the
It's like
77.
the quantum,
24,000.
Yes, the 24,995.
Yeah.
That one does not include GPS. That's just a point and shoot. That's, I mean, you can.
What you see is what you get, right?
Well, I mean, it works just the same. I mean, you're gonna be able to find your pipes, find your valves, see your depths. You're just not gonna be able to utilize the mapping feature.
Okay, explain that mapping feature to us.
Sure. So the mapping will go, you guys use Esri for your mapping. So anything you find with the GPR, you can put that into your map so that it's there. So next time, you know, he goes to First Street over here and he goes and looks on his map, he knows there's a valve here, there's a
Okay,
hydrant
I see
here,
what
it's
you're
on
saying.
this side of the road.
It's recorded, in other
Yes,
words.
yes, sir. So the second two, they do include GPS.
What don't they include?
They're gonna have everything that the first one does, but it's also gonna have the GPS mapping. The middle one is going to be, you know, the only thing is it's gonna have mapping instead of not. And then the third one though is the one with survey grade accuracy. That's the one that's gonna
Talk
get you
to
that
us
really.
about that.
Yes, sir. So it's gonna be instead of having sub-foot accuracy, it's gonna have it's gonna have, you're gonna get within 2 inches.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
more precise.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
So on the $24,000, does that still have the coordinates and everything that shows up that we can key in? Or does it just show us basically the lines and as we're going and we have to?
Yeah, it would just be to take out and find the line and you can mark it, but it's not gonna give you the coordinates.
Okay, so 24,000 has no coordinates, no
That's right.
anything,
Basically just a screen telling you what's below you.
Yes.
like basically a fancy fish finder.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
What's a subscription? What does that cost after the first year? Is that on there? I don't know. I don't think I saw that, but maybe just missed it.
Talking to other water companies, I think what they're paying is around about $800, $900 a year
For subscription?
subscription. One is like mapping, and I think 500 is mapping, like 400 is, one's corrections, like you said, with the upgrade on it, where it's down to 2 inches. One program is correcting it down to 2 inches, and one of them is the data collections.
So we're probably not looking into the thousands of dollars, or that's what I was just kind of wanting to check.
Should be like,
How much, funding do we have appropriated for existing spots where we've cut into asphalt previous that aren't repaired? Like Main Street, Rome Street, and northbound lane. Do we have money appropriated to get those spots fixed?
Like, what's that costing us? If they're having to dig all this up, what's that costing us to repair those?
It really depends on where it is. Depends on where it is.
Square footage.
When we, the last, company, Paycom, that, did the asphalt, where they, dug it up and mixed the concrete with the asphalt, that was, if I remember, it's, $9 and, $9 or something, and Keith Moore, without doing that, just put an overlay, was, over $1.50 more per square foot.
He was around
So-
11 and a
that's
half.
11 something.
11 something, so it was, Paycom was less and did the more work.
Do we have the capability to fix those ourselves?
No,
They don't
no,
already?
Not,
what we can do is,
Call
we
patch.
can put, our, fill it back up and then put some, rock in there, different type of gravel, and, then back that, but we don't have any capability of putting the, asphalt on top of it.
So, on Alma Street was one of the areas you had to keep digging, right? But didn't you, when we had a leak over there, did you not have to dig up a lot more and do a lot more than what we thought, because there was a line there that either you didn't know about, or there wasn't a line that said there was there? Was that one at that leak? Church Street. Was it Church Street?
I'm trying to remember, we've had a lot of leaks. I'm
Well,
trying to
so
remember which one we had
basically,
to chase.
like on these areas where things were not where they were supposed to be, and we had to dig up, we had to do repairs, we had to fix the road, what would be an average cost, like just kind of the basic average cost that you would have spent because you had to do the extra and the extra digging?
Well,
and repair?
it goes back to the square footage on,
Right.
well, for the asphalt at least.
Right.
But,
I mean, just
it-
like on something that you know recently, maybe just a ballpark.
I've never actually put
I mean,
price
$9 a
figures
square, so.
to
Right, but I mean, are we looking at, did it cost us $2,000 to repair that little section where we had to go do the extra because we didn't know where the lines were and we had to keep digging?
Yeah.
And, I mean, I'm just trying to see a cost
I
comparison that, you see what I'm saying? If we spent $10,000 over the last year on repairs because we couldn't find something, then
I get your question, but I haven't, honestly,
it would have to do each
yeah,
individual.
I haven't put the price to, well, this leak cost us
Right.
this much.
Right.
But,
What was the cost of Paycon on just the asphalt work without the concrete? Do you remember that?
Melissa, might have that, do you have that with you?
The first, the 74,
just the
Just
asphalt,
was it the 74 that was asphalt?
I think so, cause then them together was like 80.
It was 74 was one price that the council approved,
1,000 or 100?
1,000.
Oh, yeah.
Alex, let me get back on this, penetrating radar. Who's gonna have time to map this system? I mean, that's my biggest concern, is we can buy a line locator for $5,000 to $10,000 and locate the line. I understand it's gonna map it, but I've called probably 15 water systems and they use line locators. When are we gonna have time? I see y'all busy all the time. I just don't, I can't understand how you're gonna have time to actually map this system.
And like I said at the last council meeting, it's not like I'm just gonna say, you're not doing this anymore, you're just gonna be on mapping. I can't afford to do that.
Yeah.
It would be more of a, like if we have a leak or if we have an issue, we'd go and do it. If one of the guys doesn't have anything to do that afternoon, he'll be out mapping. It's not gonna be a constant running deal.
Well, that's my concern, is we're gonna spend $40,000 on a locator that we don't have time to use very much.
I think, there's some misconception on the terms mapping. You know, when you talk about mapping, okay, so it goes out there and they need to find a line. Okay, while they're finding that line, it's actually mapping it out. It's not like you're gonna go out there and spend a day going around right now because they've got to put other lines in, put other things in. So that capability is gonna be, when he does this section, he's got that, then when he works on this other section, he's got that, and it has mapped it out. Not only just located it, but mapped out that particular section of where they are. So it's a section built.
And that's why the GPS unit would be more beneficial. So if I do go out, we have an issue here, we use it, it's got that data for that location. And then we go over here, we've got that data for this location, and then we can put it into the mapping software we already have, and it just updates what we have.
Are we saying this correctly, on this?
Yes, sir.
Come back up there. Yes, are we saying that correctly as far as
Yes, sir.
that, using, and the other city, the other places that, are using it, are we saying what we're telling the council, accurate information?
Yes, sir. So like today, we went to a few different places and, you know, every time we run over a line, he's got that, you know, on the unit. And, as we're out there, you know, he could say, I know this is a water line, and you can double tap the screen and you can mark it water and, you know, run over here. I know this is sewer. You can double tap and you can mark water, sewer, or gas, you know, on the map while you're out there in the field. And then he can come back at 8 o'clock at night if he wants to, just whenever he has time on a rainy day when he's sitting in the shop, you know, whatever it may be, and he can add that to his Esri.
So eventually, over time, I think, let's see, it's like, it goes, when he's using this equipment, he's actually mapping out the sections, and over time, it's gonna get more sections, and then as we, replace things, then he's gonna be able to continually find more areas and map it out as they go. Is that explained a little bit better?
Yeah, I've worked the system for years, and I don't see, this is me personally, we're spending other people's money. That's what tax money is, other people's money. I'm having a hard time, of course, like I said, I didn't get a chance to look at everything, but we're gonna be spending $23,000 of our money, and we can spend $3,500 and locate a line. I understand we're not getting the mapping capability, but, this is fairly new, and Rural Water's got one, and they said they'll loan it out if people want to go out and map certain parts of their system, and that's just my concern.
How many towns of our size and population have you sold these to?
I've personally probably sold about 12 here in Arkansas. About 12 here in Arkansas, just off the top of my head in the last couple of years.
If I understand town our size with the amount of lines we have?
Sure. Yes, sir. Now, I sold to like a bigger system, Community Water there in Heber. We sold him one, and about 2 months later, he called and he was kind of worked up, and I said, oh boy, you know, what's going on? And he said, hey, that machine you sold us, that GPR? Yes, sir. We need to order another one. Man, that thing has saved us so much money. You know, we've paid for it 10 times over in 2 months. Get us another one on order. You know, but I mean, that's a bigger system. I've sold one last week to a system that bought one about 6 months ago, and they said give them about 2 months and they'll buy a third one.
Which town was that?
That was in Russellville.
Russellville?
Yes, sir. It wasn't the town of Russellville, but it was a
Yeah.
place in Russellville that bought it from me. But sold one to Conway County Regional Water. Sold one to Mountain Home. Just trying to think off the top of my head, but anyway, I could get you. I'd be happy to get you a list of all the ones we sold in Arkansas or even beyond, if you'd like, you know, to reach out to some of them or talk to them about it.
Just kinda like, just a common finder like you would use out looking for jewelry and stuff like this. Is that basically anybody that could use that, can they use this? As far as, how complicated?
It's very user friendly. You know, I showed it to Alex today, and you know, within 20 minutes, he was using it himself. You know, finding the
So it's
pipe.
nothing drawn out?
No, sir. No,
It's pretty simple, honestly. Do we have a picture of how it looks? Oh, yeah. Do they have this packet?
They haven't sent any to you yet.
Man,
It's gonna be hard to see, but you basically just see all this, which looks rough, but you see how it lumps up like that? That's saying that
That's
they're.
your indicator.
And he said it several times on the last council meeting, but it comes with use. So I could let somebody free with it right now, and they may not know what they're looking at, but like he said, it took me about 20 minutes to figure out,
What
okay,
was what?
yeah, set this up like this and all that.
Well, I noticed this one would even show wires, show, you know what I mean, different things, the better one.
Mhm.
Is that an advantage? Say,
Service lines.
service lines, and we've run into a lot of, they've stuck service lines everywhere in this town.
And just like that, those lines we were digging up at the new dollar store they're putting here,
Yes,
I hand dug that, and I came across just a cable running across the top of my water lines
right.
that wasn't marked. The phone company even come up and said, it's probably ours, and walked off. So,
I can see where that would be a big advantage, is keeping you out of trouble, you know, away from things that you don't need to be close to. And the better one would, I can't see that much difference between the two, you know what I mean, and the advantage of the better one. what it'll do compared to the other, the three, the third one.
In the last couple of years,
I would never buy the bottom of anything. That's the honest truth. Never.
in the last couple of years, have we hit any like fiber optic gas lines, anything that we've paid for yet?
We've hit gas lines, but we don't really mess with much around fiber yet, luckily. They've stuck to the 64 and then going up towards the school. We luckily haven't had to do much digging around their stuff, but we have done some damage to gas lines. And most of the time, it's because they were mismarked.
By the gas company?
By the gas company.
So they're liable on that part of it.
Which, a story that Scott loves to tell, when we were putting in the new lines on Holman Street, I was digging 4 or 5 feet trench all the way back, and they had the gas line marked 6 feet off of the hole that I was digging, and a piece of mud sloughed off, and there was a 3-inch gas line running right down the side of the trench I just made. If I would have sneezed and barely moved over, I would have cut that line.
Talking about service lines too, one system, Grand Prairie Bayou 2 Water, Terry House out there, we did a demo for him, and, you know, he played I'm not gonna tell you where the pipe is, all I'm gonna tell you is there's some pipe in the ground out here, I'm not gonna tell you how many, I'm not gonna tell you what size, I'm not gonna tell you, and he said, all I'm gonna tell you is there's some pipe out here. Well, we ran across there, first run across. Got something here, marked it, got something here, marked it, got something here, marked it. He said, well, that's good. One was a 2-inch line, one was a 4-inch line, one was a 6-inch line. He said, let's see how accurate it is. And he said, get on that 2-inch line. And we backed it up, and we said, right there where that arrow is, got a probe rod, first time in the ground, hit that 2-inch line, you know, and he was impressed. He bought the machine, and but anyway, he bought it to find water mains, and now, if you talk to him, he said, man, we use it to find service lines more than anything. You know, 3/4 inch service lines. If we're going to have anything to do with somebody's yard or just looking for one that's leaking or anything, but we'll take it out there and use it more than anything to find 3/4 inch service lines. Another thing, there was another customer there that said, well, you guys have good soil out here and everything. Let's bring it over here. We've got clay and rocks. And I said, well, we'll try it out. So we got up there, and he said, now, here's a line that's already been marked. We call it the 811, and, you know, they marked it. And they have is it a 2-foot variance? You guys may know, but, you know, whatever it is, I think it's within 18 inches. They have to be within 18 inches of the line. And so they had it marked, and we ran over it, and we said, here's your line up here. And we had one guy there that was a little bit grouchy, I guess you could say. And he said, no, it's marked right here. You know, they've already marked it. Your machine's wrong. I said, dig it up. And they dug it up, and we were right on the money. And, you know, they were within their 18 inches. But, you know, we were right on top of the line, and they were about 12 inches off. So, I mean,
How much is the software on it's not included on the middle one with the complete, final with complete? I saw that's not included.
okay, so
It's the middle one.
yes, so the middle one is gonna be the triple frequency unit with mapping. And there's not a subscription fee for that at all.
Okay.
And I did find out, on the, triple frequency with the, survey grade accuracy, that's gonna be that 2-inch, you know, tight accuracy, $1,600 a year. And, you know, that's gonna get you just, you know, right on top of it. Now, if you decided at any point to drop that subscription, the unit's gonna work just the same, but it's gonna go back down to, you know, that 10-inch accuracy.
And explain to me, I'm not sure what this is, you probably already explained it.
No.
What's the field to finish autocorrect, what does that mean? It's not included in the middle price one.
Is that program I was talking about?
I believe, that is going to be where if you're going up a incline or a decline, it's going to accurately, instead of coming out here and it's going and it's gonna point out here, it's gonna kind of fix that within itself and let you know accurately where that line is.
Actually, at a quick, am I working now?
You want to come up here, Steve?
Yeah, sure do. All right, everything's dying on me tonight. All right, so is this working?
Yes.
Yeah.
You touched it.
Stop touching stuff.
Okay. All right, just a quick look up on that. Field to finish auto work with ground penetrating radar refers to the streamlined process of collecting subsurface data in the field using GPR technology and then automatically processing it into final deliveries, such as maps, CAD drawings, or GIS data sets. If that makes it any clearer for anybody. I can try to dumb it down, but for me, if y'all need me to.
That is, so, the middle one does not do the middle one does do GPS coordinates? Or, it does it not?
Yes, the middle one does do GPS.
Okay.
It has mapping. It just
Okay.
doesn't have that survey grade accuracy,
Okay,
that 2-inch,
okay. Which we would lose if we didn't continue with the subscription.
that's correct.
Okay, so we have the subscription for 1 year and then it'll be $1,600 after that, but the middle one would not require any type of subscription. Okay.
That's correct.
At any time? We wouldn't have to have it after 2 years, 1 year.
You wouldn't even have to have it after, the first year you get it for free, and after that, it's your choice if you wanna renew it or not. On the,
If we renewed it and then didn't want to the next year, we still have the same machine, it's just not gonna be as accurate as it was.
It'd be year-to-year subscription. So if you bought it January, you had it till December, then if you did decide after that year.
So we didn't want to.
Do you know what our average cost a year is in asphalt?
We haven't actually bought asphalt ourselves in several years.
Yeah.
So I don't know even what it would cost a ton now.
instead of
So we
having
said
to add
74,000 when Pavecon came down.
Yes, that's what they charged us for that, the patching
And include labor and all.
And that's labor, everything.
Yeah.
and their equipment.
Yeah, and the equipment, yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, this one that, they presented there, that GB roller, is listed there at $38,966.74. Is it worth the $23,966.74 that the city have to pay for that, if we got a grant?
The one with the tighter accuracy is just gonna be, your choice, it's gonna,
My question was, subtracting $15,000 for a grant off of the price of your machine,
yes, sir,
is it worth that amount of money?
yes, sir.
So,
It's the best in the world, and, I'm just being honest with you, I've sold other locating devices, some that people have sitting on the shelf that they don't use, some that they use it when it works, some that it helps them, some here and there. But any of the GPRs I've sold, I've never had a customer complain about it, they've all been very happy that they bought it.
so if we had the $1,600 subscription for 10 years and the machine, that'd be $52,000 for 10 years.
But did you take off the 15,000? Because that's what the grant is.
But I'm
And I
just
think-
saying, it's all
yeah.
taxpayer money, like Jeff says, so in the long run, it's still
Right, but I mean, the grant's gonna go to somebody, so I mean.
It is, but I'm just
yeah,
saying, it's,
right.
in the long run, realistically, it's still 52,000.
Right, right, but I think too, we need to take into consideration the grant costs coming on,
Yeah.
whether it's the expensive machine or the less
Yeah.
expensive machine. Because that's the whole reason we wouldn't even be talking about it if we wasn't looking at the grant. I mean,
Yeah,
I wouldn't at all be
Yeah.
entertaining anything unless we could get some money toward it.
And that's the reason it's brought to you.
It'd be better if
So
it
as
was a
far as
lot
the
more
grant.
than 15, but.
I was kinda looking at it as Jeff was, is all taxpayers' money in the long run, grant or tax income.
15,000 is the maximum of the Arkansas Rural Development
Right.
Services grant.
I was kinda mentioning that with the service plan, that's what it'll be over 10 years' time, if the plan doesn't go up.
Has the plan gone up over the last few years?
I know for a fact that the triple frequency price has not changed in 10 years for the machine. Now, I would have to be honest with you, I'd have to check, to see if the subscription has gone up. I don't believe it has, but I wouldn't wanna say that without knowing, so I can check on that for you. I do know that the price we were selling the triple frequency unit for 10 years ago was the same. You know, every year they say, we may have to go up this year, and they haven't, which is pretty incredible considering I don't know anything else that hasn't gone up. You know, every year, if not twice a year, but, just this year, just starting in January, the single frequency unit did go up, but the, triple has not changed at all.
So the one that she was talking about earlier in the middle price range.
Yes, sir.
Is it also a rover or is it handheld?
No, sir, they're all gonna look just the same. That word rover is just what they call that unit with that, tight accuracy.
The two quantums, the GP rover, are all parts. It's the spark that is handheld.
And they're also weatherproof.
Yes, they're 100% waterproof. All the wires, the cables, the laptop, you know, the unit, the cart, it's all, you can do it in the pouring down rain if you want to. I've done it in the pouring down rain.
So the middle one is actually the same as the most expensive without the, if we.
Tight accuracy.
If we decided not to renew the subscription. Is the middle one, are we gonna be, is it?
I understand what you're saying. So if you buy the rover and then you drop the subscription, it's still gonna have a little bit better accuracy
Okay,
than the
that's-
triple. So, yes.
So what's the accuracy of the one, that middle one? I mean,
It
if we,
is,
2 inches really don't make much difference. I've dug up a lot of water lines and a lot of sewer lines, 2 inches don't make much difference. If you don't have somebody on the shovel, you're gonna bust something anyway, if you're trying to do it with a piece of equipment.
Get too close to anything, especially in
Gotta have somebody on the shovel.
substandard conditions.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta
And
have
you might
somebody.
have to bring it out. And we can still have something.
But it's all that.
I would feel better about the 16 and 21,
Right.
I'm just having a hard time. I did this for a long time. A good locator and.
So when we file for the grant, when are they, we may not even get the grant for this, correct?
There's no
I mean,
guarantee.
when is the decision on this grant? I mean, I know you said there was another one in the fall, but we have to have this in Friday and they'll decide.
What, in November?
We have to, this mic's not working anyway, we have to have this in by noon on Wednesday.
Okay.
That's my hard deadline. As far as when they will announce, will probably be September, October.
Oh, okay. So regardless, we're not gonna have anything at all, even if we did it until this fall. And I'm assuming you have these in stock, so you
Yes.
place an order, you get it instantly.
We do have them in stock. The only time our corporate branch in Birmingham, Alabama, they usually order 25 to 50 of them at a time. I mean, we sell them a lot, and,
Does the price change by September, November?
it hasn't changed in over 10 years that, since I've been doing it, so, I can't say what may happen in 6 months, but
But if we decided to go ahead and pick, I mean, we've got to pick.
Oh, the price, I'm sorry, the price
price
will not
would stay
change.
exactly
Oh,
what it is.
absolutely, no,
Okay.
this deal would be locked in 100%.
That's good.
Tell me one more time on that quantum imager with premium software, what does that not do?
So that middle one,
What he's talking about would be the
No,
first one.
the 13th,
Quantum.
the number one, quantum imager with premium software. That one with complete software, and it's gonna cost us,
yes, sir, so it does not, have the GPS, it does not do mapping.
okay.
Now,
It shows you what's in the ground at that time, and that's all.
yeah, I mean, it works the same way, it's all, it's the same technology, but it's going to, you can run over the pipe, it'll show you where it is, but it just doesn't have the mapping feature.
In that same spot last night, what is the difference between the quantum and the rover? What's the main difference between them?
That tight accuracy, that,
Survey grade accuracy.
Is that what we're talking about? Basically, it does the same thing,
yes,
except that it
More
can get
precise.
closer.
How much accuracy does it lose is what I think,
oh, gotcha, so.
between those two? Is it like inches or feet or?
12 inches.
Yeah, so it's gonna be,
You're gonna be within a foot.
it's gonna be within a foot, yeah. It's just gonna be either this close or.
Yeah.
Which I know that's more than a foot, but.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna be this close or this close.
But none of them also either dictate if it's sewer, water, gas, unless you know it's a 2-inch or whatever, you kinda common sense it out, but,
Yes, sir, that's true. No,
but in the
and
long run, it still doesn't say gas, water.
that's right. Yes, sir, that's just
So you
like,
can still survey a gas line and think you're on a water line, possibly.
like today when Alex and I were out there and some of the other fellows, we ran over, a line and I said, okay, here's a line here. Of course, they knew this is the water line, cause you can look and see a valve or a hydrant, and then I ran over a line in the middle of the road and they knew it was the sewer. And of course, you can look up and see the manhole.
Yeah.
But as far as on the screen, it's just gonna show, there's a pipe in the ground. It's not gonna tell you water or sewer or gas,
And really, sewer mapping's not a big deal. If you can't look between two manholes and tell where the sewer runs, you've got a problem.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I was showing something there, GPS balls, have you ever messed with those? GPS locator balls?
We had, this is gonna sound, so sorry about that, but we had some balls in our warehouse that we were selling that were blue, we call them blue balls. And,
Yeah.
that was, where they would, put them down the pipe and then they had to use something else to locate them.
Yeah. These from my understanding, kind of said that each junction, and they didn't go in the pipe, but they went with these
Yeah.
junctions, not.
I haven't dealt with that, no.
Okay. I think those are, 36 for $430 something is what those are. And you put them at each junction.
You kinda connect the dots, is that?
Yeah, I
what
think
you-
you connect the dots with them in the long run.
Okay,
I'm not 100% sure how they work, but they're
Sure.
they're GPS location balls,
yes, sir.
and you put one at
So
each
it's gonna
valve.
give you that GPS point
Yeah.
also?
Yeah, it'd be pinpoints,
Okay.
you kind of keep it from manhole to manhole.
And then you could put those points in your Esri map, I
Yeah.
guess is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was 36 for $400 something, I don't know. But I'm not sure which brands are
Okay,
comparable, not comparable.
right, yeah, that
That part I
I'd have
don't
to,
know.
I'd have to research that,
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
It's just something I kind of ran into, they said that Walmart, I guess, they're building a new place up there, and that's kind of what they're going with is those, so they can kind of pinpoint it,
Sure.
draw a grid, I guess.
trying to do is decide whether or not we want this or not, right?
We wanna
We
file for a
gotta
grant.
decide that first.
And
Before we do anything else.
And which one, basically.
How much money we wanna spend.
And I don't remember if this was asked or not, have we pinpointed which valves we have and which sewer manhole we have on the map already? Have we already pinpointed those?
The ones that are visible, yeah.
The ones visible is already mapped out?
Yeah.
Okay. And the fire hydrants is already done too, right?
Sewer problems is not the main sewer line, but where we had problems in the past is, where service lines come in. That's the problem. It's not the main lines. The main lines, absolutely no problem. But it's where the service lines connect, and that's where he's running some problems.
So if we went with that quantum imager, or, quantum imager with complete software, we'd be paying about 8,000 out of water and 8,000 out of sewer.
About 8,405.
And 8,000 is not out of the realm of what the locator would cost. I don't have a problem with
The
that.
metal one?
Right.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
So that'd be 16,000 altogether, right, for 17?
And there wouldn't be, like the other one you said, over the time would be 52, this one would be, we won't have that subscription every month, so,
Right.
or every year, I'm sorry.
First
You don't have to have
year,
But after that first year, you lose your mapping, right?
No, no, sir, you'd never lose your mapping, you'd always have that.
On that one, you still be able, you just manually put it
On
in.
the middle one, right?
Yeah, the 16,000 or
Yeah, on the middle one,
17,000.
you would always have your mapping.
On the quantum,
The only thing that, the only one that has a
yeah, the quantum.
subscription is the Rover, and, you know, it would be after a year of the free subscription, you would have the choice to pay the 1,600 or not.
And on the middle one, we're looking at 2 inches to maybe 12 inches difference.
That's correct.
I mean, everything else is pretty much the same, you're just looking at the depth of the line, the crack.
Exactly.
Can the middle one go as deep?
Yes.
Would that have detected the line y'all looked at today? The sewer line that was so deep?
I think so.
Different soils?
And how many feet is it?
30 feet deep.
No, we don't have anything over
And, you know, if you're finding something that's 2 feet deep, you know, it's gonna be a lot clearer on the screen, you
Yeah.
know, versus 10 feet deep versus 20, 30. I mean, you know, the further down you get, it's gonna get grainier, and, you know, you're still gonna be able to see it, but you're gonna have to look harder for it.
So,
You can set the parameters, so if you think that it's within 10 feet, you can set all 3 frequencies, like we did today. The first one was up to 4 feet, the second one was up to 8 feet, the last one was up to 10, and so on and so on.
Yeah, our deepest sewer is about 13 foot. That's our deepest sewer line.
When's the next rural water grant available after this one, to apply for?
It'd be,
The fall?
yeah, it's in the fall. I wanna say it's August or October when I have to apply for that next one. It's
I think I
somewhere
remember
between
August.
August and October.
I think I remember August, I thought.
Yeah, I just don't have the exact date with me, but it's in the fall and it's about that time.
And we've gone how long without a locator? I mean, we haven't had a locator for how long?
I've never actually used an actual locator.
Just dig.
So,
Just dig.
So that's kinda what I'm wondering, would it not be worth it to buy a locator? And then if that's just completely out of the question that won't work, apply for another grant in August.
so that 13-foot line, is that a main line, or is that just,
That's the main line.
so we know where that's at?
I don't know exactly what.
It's on its head, in general, we know.
Yeah, there's no problem with sewer main lines.
Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out, in your experience, what's the deepest line you've dug so far?
It was between 11, 13-ish over on Allen Street, when we were putting in those apartments.
11, 13 inches or feet?
Feet.
What was
13 feet, what?
Sewer line.
sewer line, yeah.
Yeah.
We put those behind that mini ball over there.
Water line?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of them. Like I said, a lot of our water lines are between 2 to 6 feet. I have had a couple that are a little deeper than that, where I can't see out of the hole while I'm digging, but, most stay within the 2 to 6.
Anything we replace, we're gonna go back to the 2 to 6 feet.
What do you mean replace?
Like we do find a deeper one when if we go replace like we're going through Alma.
Yeah, I'm
We're
gonna
gonna bring it back
basically
up.
lay it right with the old one.
But I'm just saying if we find one deeper, we're gonna come back up, so we can find it easier, I guess.
I don't follow
Well,
what
it
you're
would-
saying.
It would depend on where the other infrastructure is at.
Okay.
Yeah, if the other infrastructure is at that depth, you have to stay at that depth without a lot of work. Yeah,
So basically where it's at, we're gonna be stuck
yeah,
6 feet, 3 feet,
yeah,
within a foot or two of where it's at.
yeah. If they put in new line, like if they put in new line out at, when they redo this line, for the bridge, it'll probably be about 3 foot deep, something like that. I don't know, did they say?
I don't actually
They
know.
didn't
if
go
they-
have
Yeah,
that,
that's the
set the
average.
contract.
That's the average is about 30
Yeah.
inches to
Yeah.
36 inches
Right
covered.
now, that line's exposed actually in the creek.
Absolutely.
You know, because-
Yeah.
Which we'll be looking at paying around
So,
400,000.
let me ask you this, if you're hearing all the discussion, and, then, am I hearing y'all correctly? That you would feel comfortable with this quantum imager with complete software at the, city cost of $16,811.04, which would be $8,405.52, $8,405.52. The streets are, am I reading you correctly or hearing you as y'all speak, or am I not? I just wanna make sure that,
Yeah.
like in legal terms, are we having a meeting of the minds? Are we saying what I hear or what I don't hear or not? That,
I'm definitely better with that, definitely.
I am too, and I think with all the water problems that we've had and having water breaks and having to look for lines, and the longer you're working on it, people are complaining. I mean, I'm not saying this is gonna fix all that, but it might help in several instances to locate a line and maybe help
Especially
as far as
cut
everybody
down
on
on the
that
chase,
system.
at least.
The what?
Cut down on the chase at least. So like if
Absolutely,
it's
I mean-
pushing here and the line's way over here, I don't have to actually
Right,
keep
and-
digging to it.
Nobody wants to keep turning the water off and on to get a line
It
fixed.
should give them the ability to be a surgeon instead of a butcher.
Ooh.
Did you come up with that on your own?
Well, he
Yeah.
he said he's really thinking hard about that.
Send that to you as written.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll have to write that.
If we went with the top of the line locator, we're gonna spend $10,000, right?
the difference between those is $7,155.70.
No,
Is that what
I'm
you're
not,
saying?
that's not what I'm asking. If we just went with the line locator, if we didn't do
You're
that,
talking about one that hooks to tracer wire?
yes. I know they've got some $3,000 and $4,000 ones, but if we were going that way, we're gonna go $10,000 anyway on that. Is that pretty accurate? I've checked on some prices, and I know you can find the cheap ones, but
In my opinion, I could sell you a subsurface instruments, pipe and cable locator that you hook to tracer wire for $4,200. And that's the
So
one
it's
I would
not-
recommend. It's
it's
a
not
great
as
one, as long as
expensive,
you have
that's
tracer
all.
wire.
Okay, I'm just curious,
Yes, sir.
cause if you were gonna buy that and you took that off to 16,000, then you're really spending $12,000 on this.
Something that's got a lot more opportunity.
Yeah, I feel better than I did today.
Well, if that's what you wanna do, we can have Steve, read this, resolution 2508, and where it comes down there, where it says the city has secured local matching funds in the amount of, it would list the 16,811.04 in the resolution. So that's what the resolution would say. So everything else in the resolution would be the same, but it would be the the dollar amount. It'll be 16. So, we'll see, what you wanna do. We can have a discussion after that. Steve, would you read the resolution, 2025-08?
Can you give me 1 second to make sure I match these numbers up right, so I don't have to call another special meeting? Just give me 1 second, please. Okay. All right, I'm just going to have to talk loud because our amp is overloaded is what the problem is. So, resolution number 2025-08. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Mulberry, Arkansas, authorizing the mayor to apply for a grant from the Arkansas Rural Grant Community Program on behalf of the City of Mulberry, Arkansas, for the purchase of ground-penetrating radar equipment. Whereas the Mulberry City Council has determined that the City of Mulberry meets the eligibility requirements necessary to apply for a grant under the Arkansas Rural Community Grant Program, and whereas the City Council of the City of Mulberry recognizes critical need for ground-penetrating radar technology to improve the efficiency and accuracy of locating underground utilities, including water and wastewater infrastructure, thereby reducing damage risk, minimizing costly repairs, and enhancing public safety. And whereas the City Council of Mulberry, the Water Department, Sewer Department, and the Street Department will utilize the GPR equipment to locate and map the city's underground water and wastewater infrastructure, improving service response times, enhancing maintenance planning, and supporting infrastructure development. And whereas the ability to map underground utilities will provide long-term benefits, including reducing excavation errors, improving asset management, and ensuring the integrity of the city's water and wastewater systems. And whereas the City of Mulberry has secured local matching funds in the amount of $16,811.04 to contribute to the project. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Mulberry, Arkansas. Section 1. That the Mayor of Mulberry is hereby authorized to submit an application for formal request to the Arkansas Rural Development Commission for the purpose of securing state grant funds in the amount of $15,000 to assist the City of Mulberry in obtaining the ground-penetrating radar equipment. Section 2. The Mayor or Recorder Treasurer of Mulberry is authorized to administer the grant funds for the execution of the proposed project. Section 3. The City Council expresses its gratitude and appreciation to the Arkansas Rural Development Commission for their support and contribution to the betterment of the City of Mulberry.
Make a motion to approve.
I second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve resolution 2025-08. Is there any discussion?
Seth,
No.
Bobby,
Yes.
Scott,
No.
Jeff,
No.
Kim,
Yes.
Yes.
Ronnie, I'm sorry. I went blank. Okay.
All right, what was the,
3 for, 3 against.
3 for, 3 against? The mayor break the tie and say yes.
Thank y'all for your time.
Motion to adjourn.